Hi there. In this lesson, we'll take a look at web stacks and server-side languages. So, what is a web stack? A web stack is a collection of software and tools used to develop and maintain web applications. Typically, a web stack consists of an operating system, a programming language, a database software or system, and a web server. For many web projects, a developer may want to leverage a specific set of tools that work really well together or complement each other's strengths. They can choose a well-trusted web stack that already includes a collection of software that's known to be effective. Let's take a look now at two popular web stacks, their components, and why a web developer may want to use each stack. The LAMP stack is a traditional collection software developers use to create web applications. It consists of a Linux operating system, an Apache web server, a MySQL database, and either the use of the PHP, Perl, or Python programming language. Alternatively, if a developer swaps out the Linux operating system, they may use either Windows or Mac, in which case the LAMP acronym becomes WAMP with a W or MAMP with an M, respectively. A web application developer may want to use this traditional web stack to create a secure back-end and protect users' data. The programs on the server are delivered to the client without exposing the code or data to the actual user. Another newer web stack is known as the mean stack. It's unique because it uses the JavaScript programming language throughout various frameworks in the stack. The mean stack consists of a MongoDB database, the Express.js web application and server framework, the Angular web framework, and Node.js, a popular application runtime tool. There are alternative web frameworks that developers may choose to use instead of Angular. For example, the MERN stack uses React, and the Mevn stack, M-E-V-N, uses Vue.js. Both are alternative JavaScript frameworks. A web developer may choose this web stack if they're very familiar with JavaScript and prefer to use it as their language of choice in both front-end and back-end code. It may be easier for a full-stack developer to get started with a web project using JavaScript than learning other coding languages and frameworks. Code that is executed on your computer or device is known as a client-side program. This typically includes HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that runs in your web browser. Server-side scripts run on a remote server, and a response is sent back to the client. These scripts are typically hidden from the user and may include data stored on the server side as well. When we view websites or use a web application, code may be executed in the browser on the client side, but could also send a request to run a server-side script where data and information is then sent back to the client as a returned response. Server-side programming allows developers to efficiently deliver content and information tailored for individual users and create a much better user experience. It also lets developers store critical data and control user access to data and content. Developers can store a user's session information or perhaps the state data of an online game the user saved to continue playing later. In order to serve notifications and communicate with users, developers would create a server-side system to tailor user messages. Finally, server-side programs can track users' actions and analyze their data to provide developers with usage information or tailor ads to meet users' interests. Server-side code can be written in any number of programming languages. Examples of popular server-side web languages include PHP, Python, Ruby, C#, and JavaScript with Node.js. The server-side code has full access to the server operating system, and the developer can choose what programming language they wish to use. Let's take a closer look now at using PHP as a server-side scripting language.